I'm not a big ELAC guy. I always found other brands to deliver sound that fit my needs far better. I always found enjoyment in other similarly priced speakers and felt that ELAC just needs more character. They were typical speakers in this price range, warm, with lush sound, and bigger upper bass and lower treble. Not something I could not find in other speakers in this price range. So they always flew under my radar. And as time goes by, my interest for ELAC did not grow at all. So, did it all change? Yes. With the arrival of these speakers at my home, my friend who have these speakers gave it to me to listen to them while he was gone for extended period out of country. In that time, I learned about some other ELACs to gather lost knowledge with other debuts, UNIFIs and references, and finally, after all those listens, I was finally ready and composed to write this review. And if you enjoy this content, please like and subscribe. It is always easy to unlike and unsubscribe if you don't like this video or you're not satisfied with what's been said in this review. But hopefully I will explain everything around what makes these speakers good and what makes these speakers bad or average. So you will have a clearer picture of this device before going into store to listen to them by yourself. There was one realization which opened my eyes, and it happened while comparing this to other devices, as how it never became a leader in a certain sonic area, but it always delivered. And the weaknesses are cut to minimum, to be honest. I listen to these speakers and I go, well, Focal have better soundstage and imaging, Kev have better resolving power and transparency, Sonus Faber are more fun and have more detailed mids, and monitor audio is equal or better on lower end. But ELACs can give them all a punch in a fight out. And it had parts of sonic spectrum that all those other speakers don't have. It forced me to look at the bigger picture, not just an individual talent of a device, not just to be a snob about not getting individual awards, but to get a device which can serve an undecisive listener or a listener who wants an all-arounder experience without sacrificing for something in this price range. It is a great speaker that have you as a listener in mind first and foremost, not winning individual awards, and they are just worthy servants to your needs. But there might be their biggest flaw, as they might not be the first choice for more experienced listeners who are well aware what they want from their speakers. I personally know to what sonic qualities I pay most attention to and want to see them shine the most. We all have personal tastes. They drive us towards one gear or another, and sometimes balanced diet of sonic pleasers is not enough. I want the highest highs, I want the lowest low. I want that unhealthy cake with an amazing specified sweet taste. And I might look in different directions when choosing speakers. These are all really capable speakers, don't get me wrong, and they are a bit tweaked design from usual suspects in ELAC's lineup, as the sound it gives is more neutral and balanced to a warm speakers of debut series. It is not that reference is flat or very neutral, as real neutrality does not exist in hi-fi world. You can get your curves up and down, and the coloration can come from all different sources, from cables to amps to sources, and reality is that some speakers have different characteristics that might give precision of neutrality. I don't know what kind of system can give you full balance, but even if that system exists, would you really listen to music like that? Would you really like music like that? Treble is a more heightened into giving and providing details to that lower treble, which means that all the details and textures on soundstage is going to give instruments a definition. It is giving it space and placement whenever that cymbal hits or percussion. You are able to hear and feel it on soundstage, including the movement and speed of every instrument. Resolving power of this speaker was a surprise to me, as it truly delivers more detail and more mature sound. With all this being said, the soundstage is great. It opens both vertically and horizontally, and it is important to understand that those more balanced and neutral presentation of speakers usually bring great details in soundstage. So the organization and weight of every element on soundstage, from vocals to instruments, are going to be more clear. And ELAC organized them with a lot of grace and weight. You will need to provide them a bit space to breathe, but they are not very needy with placements. You can keep them close to the wall and they will not be muddy and bass will not be bloated and bouncy. But as always, I recommend a speaker's distance from a wall to be 30 to 60 centimeters from all the walls in the room, especially from the rear ones. And good treatment of a room can clean and expand soundstage dramatically. But even not so well treated rooms or not the best placement can provide a really good results with soundstage. So I was really happy with dispersion. Mid-range was rich, but not something to write that much about. It was more reserved rather than going at you directly, as vocals have incredible weight to them. And definition, I was satisfied with imaging. It is one of those speakers that really cares for presentation of the vocals in the center of your soundstage. Great thing was how vocals had this weight to them, as male vocals especially had this presence to be more in command and great timing to them. But to me, the greatest part of this sonic party is the lower end of speakers. It made the speakers so fun to listen. Rhythmic section was full of energy and presence. There were an attack to it, but not overly forward sounding. Upper bass presence was amazing. It gave energy to every song I put it through. I remember playing Led Zeppelin, Physical Graffitis, and the moment that guitar followed by that kick and drive, it created a musical experience that vibed so well with my preferences, as it gave me a pleasure to have rhythmic presentation that opens all the serotonin in me to bob my head and tap my hands at my feet. It gave all the instruments weight, but also it was precise and detailed. It is what I honestly liked about this the most, with of course how beautifully balanced it is. The bass had precision and complemented the mid-range so well. It gave it great foundation that other instruments build upon, and if it was just such a treat to listen. Good thing about the sonic nature of these speakers is how you can easily give them a great edge to sound by pairing them with lovely and punchy amps like Riga Brio or Cambridge Audio CXA61. I know combination with CXA61 is so great, as the treble got even more punchier and bass remained as full and commanding. So you got this very beautiful combination of drive, punch and details. What I would not recommend are very balanced and natural amps, as it might become too reserving and lean, and that is something which I don't care too much about. I think the strength and talents of these speakers are going to need a helping persona, a dominant one in relationship, to push them to expose all its talents and strengths. Relationship where both of them are very polite is not working for me, as they'll be too shy to work for me, even though technically you'll have more transparency and separation that way. All in all, to tell you which part of sound characteristics is good and Which one is decent or bad does not give it justice, as it all depends on your preferences. But one of the great ways to explain sound quality is to scale it in comparison to other different devices. And if you are already familiar with those devices, it will give you even clearer picture. To me, closest rival to these speakers is always going to be monitor audio. Precisely, monitor audio Silver 100. I think that it used to cost the same, but now Silver is much cheaper speaker. I listened extensively for one time Silver 100, and I remember how happy I was with the upper bass and lower treble. I think a lot of things that are good with ELACs are also good with monitor audio. It had a great soundstage, it had a nice delivery of details in treble. One thing I might say is that bass was even better on a monitor audio and it was more fun, but soundstage and details were a tad bigger in ELAC. But they're super similar in sound behavior, so if you're interested in ELACs, listen also to monitor audio. They are now cheaper and they arrive in that insanely beautiful limited edition of green. Oh, how I wish I had them. Other speakers I would recommend is Focal Aria 906. They are a bit more expensive than ELACs, but maybe can be found at similar price now. In scope of soundstage, imaging and just presentation, it kills ELAC. It is just amazingly open and dynamically rich speakers. But ELAC is more fun speaker, which has also much better bass. And tad more details. They are different speakers completely. But if you desire more soundstage, imaging, presentation, openness, go for Focal. Lastly, speakers I always return to, and one of my favorite in this price range is the Sonus Faber Lumina 2. Good thing is that with arrival of new version of Lumina 2 Amateur, they are now on discount and now they are a bit more expensive, only a bit, but not something you cannot shell out if you want something like this. They're much more warmer speakers than ELAC, but they are just so fun to listen and musical. And even if they are more warm, they are also detailed with a great separation and texture. They just, in my opinion, offer so much more than ELAC, where ELAC is definitely better at like soundstage, imaging and separation, but Sonus is so dynamically rich and fun and musical that will always gravitate towards them. But if you are about more clarity, transparency, soundstage, then ELAC is a better choice. And of course, bass. ELAC has a better bass. In the end, is ELAC for you? After watching this review thus far, you understand all the pros and cons coming with this device. It is a great speaker, that one who is there to please you and take your hand on a steady path to audiophile sound. Its balance sounds that brings heaps of audiophile goodies, like good soundstage, imaging, details and great bass. He is in a class of other similar speakers a decent boy, not a wunderkid, not a one that everyone is talking about, how he is a savant in a certain area, but instead a steady, hard-working student who is good at every area and have a great future paved with hard rock with great foundation. That is ELAC UBR62, and will that kind of speakers fit your needs? Is all about that date in a music store where you can meet each other and be wowed by what it has to offer. Or not. But there are always alternatives. Hopefully in future I will meet more ELACs, and on one day hopefully I will be blown away and in love with those speakers. But until then, watch my reviews, and if you like them, please like, subscribe and donate via Patreon to help me grow this passion of mine. All the best, bye!